All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to look past all the market noise and talk about a quiet revolution that's being built on the blockchain. It's called DeSci, or decentralized science, and it might just be the single most important use case for this tech that almost nobody's talking about. But look, before we can even get to why DeSci is such a big deal, we have to face a pretty harsh reality about the state of science today. And to put it bluntly, as this quote kind of hints, it's broken.
Think about it. The very system we count on for humanity's biggest breakthroughs, curing diseases, solving climate change, is just riddled with fundamental problems that are slowing progress down to a crawl.
First off, it is just painfully slow. Glacial is the right word. Picture this. You're a brilliant researcher. You have an incredible idea. But then you have to spend years just navigating this maze of paperwork and grant applications just to get the money to even start the work. It's insane. And then you've got this black box problem. A huge study comes out, right? But the actual raw data, the stuff it's all based on, is often completely locked away, treated like some corporate secret. But how are other scientists supposed to build on that work if they can't even see the foundation? How can we verify if it's even true? And a massive piece of this whole puzzle comes down to control. There's a small handful of giant publishing companies that basically act as the gatekeepers for all scientific knowledge. They hide crucial research behind ridiculously expensive paywalls, so they get to decide what gets seen and who gets to see it, creating this massive bottleneck for human progress. So, what's the end result of all this? Well, it's not just inefficient. It actually creates this deep-seated mistrust in the scientific process itself, and it's just an enormous waste of time, of money, and of pure human brainpower. But what if? What if we could just rebuild the entire engine of science from the ground up? Well, that is exactly the promise of DeSci. It's a brand new blueprint for a more transparent, more efficient, and way more collaborative future for research, all built on the blockchain. The core idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's totally radical. You take every single step of the scientific method and you put it on a public, permanent, unchangeable digital record, an immutable ledger. Just think about the power of that for a second. A permanent record of truth that can't be messed with. So here's what that actually looks like. From the very second a project gets its first dollar of funding, to the collection of raw data, through every single comment in the peer review process, all the way to the final publication, every action gets recorded on chain. And this isn't just for, tidy bookkeeping. It means data can't be tampered with, results can't be hidden or buried. The truth of the whole process is right there, out in the open, verifiable by anyone. Now, this is where things get really wild. The implications here are just staggering, and the first major earthquake it causes is in funding. DeSci completely rewrites the rulebook for how science gets paid for. Let's just compare the old way with the new. Instead of researchers battling each other for these mysterious, opaque grants, DeSci allows for public treasuries for science, where literally anyone can contribute. Then, smart contracts can automatically release funds as projects hit verifiable milestones. The entire incentive structure shifts from that toxic publisher-perish culture to a much healthier goal: solve real-world problems. The financial rewards get tied to actual provable progress. Okay, so redesigning funding is huge, right? But if that wasn't big enough, this next part is where DeSci becomes a true world changer. And we're talking about intellectual property. Our current system literally pays scientists to keep their findings secret. The whole goal is to win the race to a lucrative patent, which turns discovery into this cutthroat competition where knowledge gets locked up in silos and collaboration is actually punished. DeSci just flips that entire model on its head. It turns the zero-sum game of patent hoarding, where for me to win you have to lose, into a positive-sum game of collective discovery, where we all win by building together. Using new tools like IP NFTs, researchers can still get credit and even royalties for their contributions, while making sure the underlying knowledge stays a public good, open for everyone to build on. It rewards sharing, not secrecy. So what does all of this matter beyond the world of lab coats and beakers? Well, it provides a powerful, tangible answer to one of the biggest questions facing this technology. We've all heard this question a million times. Skeptics, they struggle to see the utility beyond just pure speculation. But DeSci offers a profound answer that has absolutely nothing to do with price charts. At its core, this is what the technology does best. It removes inefficient and powerful middlemen. For DeSci, that means disintermediating the legacy publishing giants and the slow-moving funding bodies, and putting the power and the accountability back where it belongs, into the hands of the researchers and the communities they serve. So the next time someone asks you what crypto is actually good for, don't just talk about finance. Tell them about the lab on the ledger. Tell them about rebuilding the very foundation of science, one transparent, verifiable block at a time.